Okay, let's dive in. We got some source material here today, focusing on a company, Metallicus, right?
That's right, Metallicus. And specifically something they've built called the Digital Banking Network. TDBN for short.
TDBN. And the sources, they paint this as a pretty big deal. Yeah, like trying to connect traditional finance banks, fintechs, even regulators with, well, Web3.
Exactly. It's presented as quite ambitious. So our goal in this deep dive is really to unpack these sources, figure out what they say TDBN actually is.
How it works, according to them.
Yeah, and maybe most importantly, why the sources think it matters for, the future of finance.
Right, because this could touch a lot of people, couldn't it? Whether you're just kind of curious about crypto, or maybe you're a developer, a builder.
Even if you're working inside a bank right now.
And the sources seem very clear on one thing.
Yeah.
This isn't pitched as just, another crypto project.
No, definitely not. They frame it more as foundational infrastructure.
Foundational, okay.
With a really heavy emphasis on compliance from the get-go and making it actually usable, like real-world usable today.
That's the angle that jumps out.
Yeah.
And they don't just call it a protocol in the material, do they? They use the word mission.
They do. A mission. Specifically to connect all those different players, banks, fintech, regulators, builders on one platform.
And a platform that's built fundamentally for legal compliance and a serious scale.
That's the core idea presented.
Okay, a mission. And Metallicus itself, the company, US-based fintech, the sources say.
Correct.
And they seem to draw a distinction. They're not just building like startup DeFi, as the source puts it. They claim they're building real-world financial infrastructure.
Stuff banks might actually want to use. That's the claim.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah.
So what did the sources say makes this potentially attractive to, say, a traditional bank?
Well, the material points to some core features, things supposedly baked in, not bolted on.
Like what?
Things like integrated KYC, know your customer, AML, anti-money laundering, BSA, Bank Secrecy Act compliance layers.
Wow, okay. So the heavy-hitting compliance stuff.
Right. Plus, native on-chain identity. The sources really stress these aren't afterthoughts. They're part of the basic architecture.
So compliance and identity as foundations, not extras.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's maybe dig into the tech components the sources talk about. The foundation of TDBN seems to be something called Metal blockchain.
Yes, Metal blockchain. That's described as the primary layer. It uses the Avalanche Snowman consensus protocol. That's at layer 0.
Layer 0.
Yeah.
So the absolute base level. And
Yeah.
Snowman consensus is just the rules for agreeing on transactions.
Basically, yeah. Designed for speed, efficiency. The sources also mention native support for custom subnets.
Subnets, like dedicated mini networks within the main one.
Kind of, yeah. Customizable sections. And the whole thing is built with a regulatory-ready architecture, according to the material. It uses proof of stake for security.
Right, staking tokens to validate transactions.
And it's meant to be builder-friendly.
Okay. And there's a token involved, right? The metal coin.
Correct. Metal coin. Described as the network's utility and governance token. The sources call it the heartbeat of TDBN.
Heartbeat, okay.
They state a max supply just under 667 million tokens. Transaction fees get burned.
So it's deflationary.
Potentially, yes. Staking it gives validator access, and it apparently has uses across the whole Metallicus ecosystem.
Got it. So metal blockchain, metal coin, that's one part. But the source also brings up another chain, XPR network. How does that fit into the picture?
Good question. The sources describe XPR network almost like an application chain, or what they call the A-chain within the Metal blockchain setup.
A-chain.
It's based on Antelope technology. You might know it as the old EOCO tech.
Okay. I remember EOCO.
So key features highlighted for XPR are instant finality transactions confirmed super fast, irreversibly,
Instant, okay.
and crucially, near zero gas fees.
Wait, near zero? That's huge compared to a lot of chains. How do they claim that's possible?
The source points to the efficiency of that underlying Antelope architecture, and it lists features on XPR that they say align well with what traditional finance needs, like stuff the FedNow service apparently likes.
Oh, interesting. Such as?
Built-in support for ISO 2022 messaging.
That's the big global standard for financial data, right? Vital for banks.
Exactly. Also, support for DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. It's KYC-ready, and it supports DeFi operations.
Okay, that ISO 2022 integration feels like a very direct nod to getting TradFi on board.
Seems like it.
So you have these two chains, Metal blockchain and XPR network. How do they actually, work together?
The sources talk about the synergy. There's supposedly a native bridge connecting them.
A bridge?
Yeah, described as secure, fast, and compliant. It lets assets move pretty seamlessly between the two.
So you can choose the environment based on what you need, like the full decentralization and custom subnets of Metal blockchain.
Or the speed and low cost of XPR network for specific applications. That's the idea presented.
Okay, right. So we've got the chains, the token, the bridge. How does someone, a user, a developer, a bank, actually interact with all this? What's the interface?
That interaction layer, according to the sources, is primarily the WebAuth.com wallet.
WebAuth Wallet.
The material puts a lot of emphasis on its security. Biometric login is highlighted.
Makes sense.
It's described as an ultra-safe wallet that supports native on-chain identity.
On-chain identity. So
Yeah.
your verified identity is linked right inside the wallet.
Essentially, yes. Which they argue is key for doing crypto and DeFi in a compliant way.
Interesting. Linking identity at the wallet level feels significant. What about apps built on top? The source mentioned something called Loan Protocol.
Ah, yes, Loan Protocol. Presented as a DeFi lending platform built on XPR network.
Okay, DeFi lending.
The sources say it's designed with real-world logic, so you can use your crypto as collateral.
To borrow funds without selling. Standard DeFi concept.
Right, but they claim it's instant, gasless again, thanks to XPR network.
That low fee aspect again.
And non-custodial, meaning you keep control of your assets. Crucially, though, it's described as KYC compatible
Now,
by using decentralized identifiers, or DIs.
DIDs, right? That's the verifiable digital identity thing, but without one company holding all the keys.
Exactly. That makes sense if you're trying to enable compliance within a decentralized setup.
Yeah, it does. The source apparently compares loan to OV, which is huge in DeFi, but calls loan made for the future.
Yes, they make that comparison. But the key distinction the sources seem to push is that built-in compliance focus and integrating the DDI tech right into lending, aiming for, institutional readiness.
Right, readiness for bigger players. So, okay, let's piece this all together. You've got Metal blockchain, XPR network, Metal coin, WebAuth wallet, Loan protocol. Why should developers, particularly those building like real-world applications, pay attention to this specific ecosystem? What's the pitch in the sources?
The material makes a very direct pitch there. It argues that if you're building for mainstream use, for the real world, you need certain things, non-negotiables.
Like what?
Compliance, obviously. Identity solutions. Scalability. And a user experience that's, super simple. So simple, even grandma could use it, is the phrase used.
Okay, ambitious goal there.
And the sources claim TDBN provides all that today.
How? Through which features, specifically?
Through things like chain abstraction, that's where the custom subnets come in, hiding complexity. Through the WebAuth Wallet's native identity and easy login. Through KYC-ready smart contracts.
Digital agreements with compliance built in.
Right. And that combination of DID technology with DeFi capabilities.
So the core argument is, they've already built and launched the foundational stuff that real-world Web3 apps need. It's not just theory.
Exactly. And that leads to another big point the sources make. They list products that are actually operational now.
Ah, right. They mentioned metalpay.com. That's for getting cash in and out of crypto. Fiat on-off ramp.
Yes. Then Metallicus app, which is a decentralized exchange, a DEX, but designed with U.S. compliant architecture, they claim.
Okay.
The WebAuth Wallet, providing that identity and secure storage we talked about. And the Loan Protocol, offering decentralized lending, but with claims of real yield, compliance, and self-custody.
So the sources are basically saying, look, we have a live product suite that demonstrates this bridge between Web3 innovation and real-world needs.
Precisely. Their claim is that Metallicus and TDBN are doing what many others are just talking about, merging Web3 freedom with Web2 reliability and TradFi compliance.
There's a quote in there, isn't there? Something like, their focus is not chasing the next Ponzi meta.
Yes, but rather building the backbone of compliant crypto in 2025 and for the future. It's a very strong positioning statement.
Yeah, it definitely is, saying they think the whole industry needs to go.
And they try to back that up by listing what they see as the critical priorities for the space in, say, 2025.
What do they list?
Things like regulation, obviously, on-chain identities, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, institutional DeFi, chain abstraction again, and better builder user experience, better tools for developers.
Okay, comprehensive list.
And their, powerful assertion is that their existing products already address these things, while, quote, the rest of the industry is just catching up.
Wow. Okay, they end with a pretty direct challenge too, don't they? Something like, ignore at your own risk.
They do. It really underlines their confidence, or at least the confidence presented in the source material, that the features they've prioritized, compliance, identity, usability, aren't nice-to-haves anymore.
But essentials for actual mainstream adoption.
That's the argument. The sources clearly position them as being ahead of the curve on what's needed to properly integrate digital assets into the global financial system soon.
So they're presenting this whole TDBN thing as a complete live toolkit, ready to onboard everyone from individuals to big institutions into Web3.
But, and this is key, strictly within a framework they believe meets today's and tomorrow's regulatory demands.
Okay, so just to kind of wrap up our deep dive into this source material and Metallicus and the digital banking network, the core picture we got is TDBN presented as this deliberate mission, right?
Yeah, a mission to connect all these different players, banks, fintechs, regulators, Web3 builders.
All on a platform really designed from the ground up for legal compliance, verifiable on-chain identity, and scaling up.
We looked at those key components described in the sources. Metal blockchain as the base layer with its subnets and Snowman consensus.
The XPR network for speed, near zero fees, and those TradFi-friendly features like ISO 2022.
Right. The metal coin acting as the fuel and governance token. The WebAuth Wallet for secure access linked to identity.
And the loan protocol for compliant DeFi lending using those DIDs. And the sources kept emphasizing that a lot of this isn't just planned, it's live now.
Yeah, operational products were definitely highlighted.
The whole narrative coming through the sources is pretty strong. That they didn't wait around for the industry to solve compliance and identity. They claim they've built it, launched it, and are aiming right at what real-world financial apps need.
And, you know, that brings us to that final kind of provocative thought presented in the material. By focusing so hard on regulation, on-chain identity, institutional DeFi, and that builder experience.
They're calling those the absolute priorities for 2025.
Exactly, and claiming they're way ahead. So the fascinating thing to chew on, based on these sources, is what if they're right? What if this specific path-compliant, real-world focused financial infrastructure really does become the main highway for Web3 merging with traditional finance?
Yeah, that definitely raises questions about which projects, which approaches are truly positioned for whatever this next phase of digital finance looks like.
It certainly gives you something to think about regarding that convergence.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the source material on Metallicus and the digital banking network. Lots to consider there.